Well, good evening and hello and welcome. My name is Jeff Hooks. I am the President and Chief Operating Officer of Victory Nutrition International, and it is my privilege to welcome each of you to our exciting V&I product launch. It is Monday evening, September 16th, 2019, and what a wonderful time to be part of the V&I family. And I know from looking at the attendee list just a few minutes ago, we've got a number. Actually, we've got some customers plugged into this event, which is wonderful. We're so excited to welcome each of you. And of course, we've got many of the top leaders and emerging leaders in the world of V&I on the partner side of our organization plugged in live as well. Excited about this launch. And folks, as I think all of you know, we are here to talk about the exciting official launch of our RestoreGen, our GARS RestoreGen product launch, which is a brand extension of our Brain Reward. And you're going to be learning all about it tonight. And what I want you to know is, and I think most of you know this, but we did a soft launch of the GARS RestoreGen. We did an introduction and soft launch back in early May at our Empower conference in Charlotte, North Carolina. And folks, with very little promotion, with very little education to our existing customer base, we just rolled it out, and the response has exceeded our most robust expectations. Candidly, we are on a weekly basis. We have new customers, new partners ordering the GARS test, ordering when the results get in, which you'll learn about tonight if you haven't already, then ordering their specific RestoreGen formula, and the results have been absolutely beyond anything we would have hoped for. And so tonight represents the official launch, everything we've been doing, not just from a product standpoint, not just from an inventory standpoint, but a testing standpoint, some marketing materials, some that are going to be revealed today, some that are going to be revealed in the upcoming several weeks. But it is game time. It is game time with this exciting launch. And most importantly, we're excited about the impact and the value that this new product launch is going to have with our current customers, with our current partners, and also future customers and partners. And so without any further hesitation, it is my absolute honor and privilege to be turning this presentation over to our founder and our Chief Executive Officer, Bill Downs. Bill, take it away.
Thank you, Jeff. And I'm very privileged to be joined by my colleague, Steve Kushner. And I'm going to share my screen. And here we go. All right. So this is a momentous occasion, by the way. There are DNA tests in the market already. Some of you have seen them advertised on television. There's a number of different ones. None of them do what the V&I GARS test does, nor the RestoreGen product solutions do. This is, again, a landmark breakthrough with DNA-designed precision nutrition. So let me first review a little bit about the Brain Reward. We know that in our culture today, stress intolerance, sleep disorders, chronic unhappiness, fatigue, poor concentration, relapse, and a whole bunch of other conditions are all known as reward deficiencies. We've been talking for quite some time that the Brain Reward is an effective reward deficiency solution. And I'm going to give you a little bit of background. We know that we're dealing with something called the brain reward cascade. And that starts with serotonin and it goes down to dopamine. And each of the neurotransmitters goes through 4 steps. Number 1, the synthesis or manufacture, the transport, the reception, and therefore function, and then the degradation, reuptake process of each of the neurotransmitters. And they're kind of like dominoes. And if you disrupt one of them, you interrupt the entire cascade or sequence of events, which I call the symphony of neurochemistry. Brain Reward has been demonstrated in 43 published clinical studies to optimize gene expression of every step of this process for each neurotransmitter in the brain reward cascade. It's an amazing breakthrough. And let's revisit the symphony of neurochemistry. The neurotransmitters in the brain reward cascade, they communicate with each other to achieve optimal system function called crosstalk, or neurotransmitter interconnectivity. And Steve will be talking about that a little bit as well. All the neurotransmitters must be able to achieve their optimal functions in order to optimize the interconnective communications between different compartments of the brain and other tissues in the body, like the digestive system, the lymph or immune system, your glands, your endocrine system. This is, again, an amazing development, because impairment in the function of any one of the neurotransmitters impairs the effective function of the entire system that those neurotransmitters are either regulating or they're involved in. Individuals have different nutritional needs to optimize neurotransmitter interconnectivity. I'm going to touch on those in a moment. A gene test can determine exact nutrient needs required to optimize neurotransmitter interconnectivity, or crosstalk. So this is a picture of a quantitative electroencephalograph. Here's a placebo, and when the QEEG is done, you can see this is, I'm going to call it normal behavior. However, when the brain reward, which is a KB220Z, was administered, you can see a dramatic change in how the lighting up occurs. The intensity is amazing. And here's another depiction. There's 4 different subjects here. This is the placebo on the top, and on the bottom is the brain reward. And you can see that in each one of these individuals, the brain reward affects different brains in slightly different ways, in slightly different intensities. So these 4 representative subjects that received the oral placebo, the water on the top row, compared to the same 4 subjects in the bottom. So this is called a crossover counterbalance design. And the different responses are extraordinary. So these are the same 4 subjects, top and bottom. It's incredible. And then this is yet another validation of the correlation, looking at different compartments of the brain. The nucleus accumbens, where dopamine receptors are synthesized, anterior thalamic nucleus, and dorsal hippocampus. So you can see the placebo on the top, and after the brain reward, you can see dramatic changes, how different individuals' brains are affected in different ways. So the point I want to make is, when I was involved in developing what's called an algorithm, it is the mathematical probabilities of different options. With Dr. Blum, probably back in 2008, we started working on this to develop it. And the brain reward really encompasses influencing probably somewhere around 92 to 93% of the population, but it doesn't affect them all in the same way, as you can see here. So I'm going to say we probably come closer to hitting the bullseye in 60% of that 90%. And then in varying degrees of successful intervention intensity, we hit the other 30%. So it's kind of like you have a bell curve, and the bullseye is at the top of the bell curve. And as you go down, the outliers splay out. Well, we've developed something now, and again, here's yet another perspective in an entirely different study, looking at the way that the brain reward, this is not the RestoreGen, this is just the brain reward, is affecting these brains. But we want to come as close to 100% bullseye in nourishing the brain's ability to improve mental sharpness and cognition and handle stress and improve self-control and decision-making and things like that. So real briefly, this is a snapshot of what we essentially called a genetic GPS, a genetic positioning system, rather than a global positioning system. This is a snapshot of just some of the potential communications crosstalk that goes on between the different genes that affect the neurotransmitters in the body. I just, before Steve comes on, I just want to indicate that we have done now with the GARS gene test and with the RestoreGen a much better job of hitting the bullseye. But until then, Steve, I'd like you to click your microphone and your camera and come on, please.
Okay. Here I am.
Okay, you take over here.
I think you have to advance it for me.
Yeah. Okay.
So the interconnecting communication relationship downstream, cross-stream, and upstream via feedback between the transmitters is extremely complex. And the only way to know the exact amount of nutritional resources needed to ensure accurate and competent interconnective communication is a gene test. And we would like to introduce now formally the GARS gene test. It is an absolute breakthrough analysis of genetic factors, and it happens to be protosomed as well, which puts us even over the top even more. It's DNA designed precision nutrition, and I think that word precision is very important. It's an effective reward deficiency solution. This is a picture of the actual supplement. It's a pretty cool looking box just in and of itself, if you think about it. And I want to just reiterate that this is precision nutrition that's protosomed, that is tied directly to your needs. It is an extremely valuable tool that is not available pretty much anywhere else. So this has been validated through a scientific background. And as you guys know, we do science on virtually everything we do. So as of March 2019, the GARS gene test and the DNA Design Precision Nutrition Reward Deficiency Solution, which is now available as something called RestoreGen, has been validated in numerous studies involving no less than 1,850 cases worldwide. That is an incredible number. That's the kind of science you see that major drug companies do when they get to that number of people to have that validation. And you can find that research available on our science website at www.vniscience.com.
Yeah, and let me just comment that there will be a section in vniscience.com devoted just to the GARS gene test and the validation of the RestoreGen formulas. And I want to punctuate that these are the genes that we're looking at, and these are what the genes do on the right over here, the prime function. And that's not the sole function, but that's the key function. You have the dopamine D1, you have 5 types of dopamine receptors. The D1 is involved in the release of dopamine, and the D2 is involved in the reception. And this is about evaluating a potential risk of exhibiting excessive craving behavior or doing things to excess to achieve reward satisfaction, looking at also dopamine D3, D4, dopamine transporter, serotonin, opiate receptors, GABA receptors, MAO, and catecholomethyltransferase, COMT. And these are the functions over here. I don't want to get into any significant details, but this represents primarily 6 major genotype pathways in the brain that have different influences in the body and change the way people perceive and respond to things.
And before I read that, I just have to make a quick comment, because the nice thing is, while Bill understands that science and what you just saw before you, the cool thing is not one person listening tonight or viewing this has to know about those genes or the alleles. As you saw those images that Bill showed you with the different brain function, remember, that's a key point that we always talk about with regard to all the VNI products. When people say, well, is it good for this? Is it good for that? We don't know, because the body knows. And you saw how the brain reward affected all of those different brain scans of different people. It fills the need. It's whatever your body needs So we're providing the tools so your body can take care of itself. And I think that's very important to remember. And now you see it scientifically too. So serotonin function, which is part of that cascade, is involved in modulating cognition, reward, learning, memory, and other numerous and important physiological processes. 90% of the human body's total serotonin is located in the GI tract, where it also regulates intestinal movements. So when you guys hear about, I feel something in my gut, it's literal. Serotonin is also stored in blood platelets and is released during agitation and vasoconstriction, where it then promotes the activity of other platelets. Platelets, of course, help heal the lining of damaged blood vessels and control bleeding. Serotonin is also important for the regulation of mood, appetite, and sleep. And it triggers the sequence of cascading events, as you saw on the chart before, that influence dopamine production, which is, in other words, the brain reward cascade.
So, enkephalin function is involved in regulating the nervous system's response to certain harmful, potentially harmful, or traumatic stimuli. That includes pain, toxic fumes, traumatic sights or sounds, etc. Enkephalins are really small molecules that bind to your opiate receptors in your brain, and they have pain-killing activity. Therefore, they inhibit pain sensations. Enkephalins also have a regulatory effect on your endorphins, which is your body's own morphine. Keep in mind that people that have a low tolerance to pain, they get hurt very easily, almost certainly are running out of gas, so to speak, in their ability to make competent enkephalins. It's called enkephalin tone. Enkephalins influence norepinephrine or noradrenaline that stimulates the get up and go effect on the body. And enkephalins also have an impact on digestive system motility, that snake-like movement that causes contents of your intestine to move down and eventually out of the body. Enkephalins also have an impact on pancreatic secretions and metabolism of carbohydrates. In addition, norepinephrine or noradrenaline function is involved, and let me make this, I need to make this important comment. The norepinephrine is actually not part of the brain reward cascade, but it is the first step beyond the brain reward cascade, and therefore profoundly is influenced by the functional competence of the brain reward cascade. You know, if it's malfunctioning, then you're going to have noradrenaline is going to be malfunctioning. You heard a lot of people talk about, I have adrenal exhaustion. This is the step before epinephrine, which is adrenaline. So people that have adrenal exhaustion have dopamine exhaustion. Their body's not able to make enough norepinephrine. And the norepinephrine is responsible for improved attentiveness, emotion, sleeping, dreaming, learning. It's also released as a hormone into the blood, where it causes the blood vessels to contract or constrict, and that makes the heart rate increase. Norepinephrine plays a role in mood disorders such as manic depression, and it mobilizes the brain and body to action. Naturally boosting norepinephrine, which is what you do when you use dopamine, can increase energy, especially during stressful, energy-draining events. Your turn.
So endorphins benefits include, they inhibit the communication of pain signals, very important. They produce a feeling of euphoria, very similar to that produced by other opioids. And the word endorphin is actually a combination of endogenous, which means inside the body, and morphine. It is the body's own morphine-like substance, and quite frankly, a lot stronger than morphine at the levels we produce it at. Endorphins also bind to your body's opiate receptors, and they inhibit the release of the neurotransmitter GABA, which in turn increases the production and release of dopamine, which is the neurotransmitter associated with pleasure. So a genetic limitation or an inability to produce sufficient endorphins is associated with anxiety and depression. Now GABA, their functions include, they're made in the brain cells and function as an inhibitory neurotransmitter, meaning that it blocks nerve impulses. Its principal role is reducing neuronal or nerve excitability throughout the nervous system. It is a dopamine antagonist, meaning it works against dopamine. So impairment in gene expression of serotonin and enkephalins and or endorphins enable an overexpression and overproduction of GABA. This is what inhibits or antagonizes dopamine production. This tends to impair happiness, mental sharpness, cognition, stress management, and many other functions. So now we get to dopamine, and its functions include, it is the pot of gold reward at the end of the brain reward rainbow. We saw that in the chart before. It is absolutely responsible for reward-motivated behavior, and it promotes greater motivational salience. It regulates the intensity of behaviors involving the time and energy spent and risk involved in attaining any particular goal. It promotes dilation of blood vessels, improving circulation. It regulates the release of other neurotransmitters, meaning neuromodulation. It helps regulate cravings and recovery. It enhances focus, concentration, cognition, stress management, energy, mood elevation, and mental sharpness. And it is involved with the impaired expression of dopamine genes can cause an inhibition or synthesis, transport, reception, or neurodegradation or reuptake of dopamine and impair any or all of the beneficial effects. So I think as we go through these, you see the interconnectedness, and as Bill used the term before, the crosstalk, that every single neurotransmitter relies on other neurotransmitters, and anytime there's a break, there's a problem. So this is the imperative nature of not only the GARS test to know what you need, but then being able to use the brain reward along with the RestoreGen formulas.
And I'll do this one and hand it back over to you after this one. So we're looking at RestoreGen, which is a line of 6 formulas, which are, again, addressing the 6 genotypes that I talked about earlier. So the first thing you do is you purchase the patented GARS gene test kit, and you use the cheek swab called a buccal swab to swab the inside of your cheeks per the instructions provided. By the way, it's 25 times on each side. Then you insert the sealed buccal swab container into the self-addressed envelope of the genetic testing laboratory, and you mail it as instructed. In about 7 days, you receive your GARS test results that indicate which RestoreGen formula is the ideal companion, hits the bullseye, to brain reward, and that will optimize your gene expression and rebalance the neurotransmitters and the reward pathways of your brain.
So GARS test results reveal a greater need to promote dopamine sensitivity and function, reduce cravings, enhance focus, concentration, and cognition, as well as energy, recovery, stress relief, mental sharpness, and mood elevation. Now, the specific RestoreGen DNA precision nutritional formulas support an increased ability to enhance serotonin, endorphin, GABA, and dopamine functions all along that brain cascade.
Yeah, and let me just indicate, as you're going through these, what you're seeing are the 6 different genotype pathways. Go ahead.
You also, from the RestoreGen, improve dopamine sensitivity and function, and endorphin and dopamine function, and GABA and dopamine functions. As you see, these are all tied, and serotonin and dopamine functions. And finally, you are improving serotonin sensitivity and functions.
So there are the 6 formulas: GABAgen, Endogen, Equigen, Metagen, Polygen, and Serogen. So DNA Design Precision Nutrition is here. We can eliminate the guesswork when it comes to nutrition for the brain. One size fits all has been all that is available until now. So achieve the next level of nutritional support for your brain, designed by your personal DNA results. Brain Reward and your RestoreGen formula represent a disruptive technological breakthrough in DNA designed precision nutrition. Go to your VNI partner website or contact customer care, or contact the individual that informs you about this presentation to order your confidential DNA test kit. VNI is the only exclusive partner with Genius Health, and Genius Health Laboratory is who we use, that has a DNA designed nutritional solution to optimize your brain function.
You want me to read this?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So here's basically how easy this is. You purchase the patented GARS test kit. You receive it. You use the buccal cheek swab to swab the inside of your cheeks per the instructions provided. You then fill out the GARS test requisition form, insert it into the self-addressed envelope. You insert the sealed buccal swab container back into the box which it came, insert that box into the self-addressed envelope of the genetic testing laboratory, and mail it as instructed. And then in about 7 to 10 days, you should receive your GARS test results that indicate which VNI RestoreGen formula is the ideal companion to brain reward to optimize your gene expression and rebalance the neurotransmitters in the reward pathways of your brain. And Bill, if you don't mind, I would just want to mention too that it's so important to talk about the gene expression there, because we know we can't change genes, but we can change gene expression. And then you want to know, how do you do it? Well, the GARS test is what's helping us figure out exactly what we need to do for us individually to improve gene expression in the brain. That's pretty cool.
That's right, Steve. Thanks. And I want to reiterate before I bring Jeff back in that this is a whole new dimension of possibilities to achieve optimal brain function and mental sharpness and cognition, improve cravings and help with detox and recovery and all the things that are necessary to achieve a much happier, productive life. Brain Reward and its RestoreGen Formula Companion is a game changer, and we're the only ones that have this available to the field. So with that, I want to thank you for being here, and I'm going to ask Jeff to pick up where I left off. If I can, here we go.
Terrific. All right, folks, we're in the home stretch here. I'm going to start my screen share and just pick up with the last couple of slides that we've got here. And there we go. All right, so here's what's interesting. Now, we're not going to go into a partner training because we've got a number of customers and prospective customers. And by the way, folks, this is a huge event. we've got tremendous excitement and interest. And this is just the beginning. I want you to know, for our partners, we will be unveiling tomorrow. You'll have access to a brand new, it might even go live tonight, but definitely tomorrow, a brand new digital brochure for the GARS RestoreGen, covering at a high level some of the information that both Bill and Steve have shared. And folks, just like Steve said, it's so important. We have some very influential healthcare practitioners that are plugged into this event. And certainly these individuals, these men and women, understood some of the science. You might not understand the science, but it's like I always share. I don't understand all the science. I'm a businessman, but I'm also a customer. And these products work. They know what to do. And all we have to do, I take my Brain Reward and my EquiGen. EquiGen is my formula that's specifically designed for my brain. And I take it first thing in the morning when I take my Prodivite, actually. And my response has been tremendous. I was on the Brain Reward for well over a year before I added the EquiGen, and the results are tremendous. For me, mental clarity, stress reduction, like all of you, I've got more things to do in a day than I can by far, and more people needing to be poured into than any individual can do. And that's the way I know you are, but whether it's career, business, your V&I business, serving your customers, whether it's family, whether it's church, charity, volunteer work, whatever it is, we are in a fast-paced world. And because we're always plugged in, we are stressed as a society. And folks, as you heard from both Bill and Steve, this brand extension of Brain Reward, the Brain Reward is the foundational product, 3 patents backed by so many clinical studies, and now DNA designed precision nutrition as a complement. And here's what's interesting. As you see on your screen there, our customer pricing for both the Brain Reward and the specific RestoreGen product or solution for you and your customers is $175. That's retail. Wholesale, our partner pricing or our preferred customer pricing is $135. Now, I want to share this with you, and I want to share this with you. Before VNI launched, before Brain Reward, before Bill and Steve got together and took a formula that already existed, that Bill had created with Dr. Blum. So this is before Brain Reward, before being protozomed, before some of the other enhancements that came to this formula. There was a predecessor. There was a little brother, a little baby brother to Brain Reward that Bill and Dr. Blum, and this is Steve was involved at the tail end, but it was a wonderful product. And it got great results for another company that's no longer in business. But here's the point. That company charged retail $225, retail, $180 wholesale, and they sold millions and millions of dollars worth of product. We are now offering a superior updated formula with multiple enhancements plus protozomed with DNA designed precision nutrition for a third less than that previous company that, again, is no longer around. So, folks, this is a game changer. I just want you to know, I know you're excited. Myself, I've got text messages blowing up. This is a huge call, but folks, I want you to know we're going to be training more. This coming Saturday, we're going to do some specific training on the GARS RestoreGen and how to share. But, folks, this is something that's exciting. There are some more tools coming out, but you've already got with this new brochure that's launching, if not tonight, tomorrow for sure. And we will make it available on the VNI Life app for sharing. This is a matter of people know, we know as a society. I mean, we share this statistic a lot. And I say this in closing, 75% of adults in the US and Canada supplement. 75%. So 3 out of every 4 people you see on the highway, wherever you are, restaurants are supplementing. We know as a society that we're not getting all the nutrition from the foods we're eating, even if we're trying to eat clean, even if we're trying to eat raw food. So people know they need to supplement. People are interested in their brain. Absolutely. I promise you, that's one of the fastest, hottest markets in the world of nutritional science is products that at least have the promise of helping our brain. We have best in class, unprecedented scientific validation with our brain formulas. Brain Reward and now the RestoreGen companion are the second to none in the marketplace worldwide. And you as a partner have exclusive access to this game changer product. Again, you know our mission. Our mission is helping people, assisting people in becoming beacons of health, hope, and abundance. So now you have another tool in your toolkit to go out and help people. And that's what we want you to do. We're going to continue to equip and empower you. We're going to bring leaders in. Tomorrow night for our partners, we've got the monthly corporate leadership call. We're going to be talking a little bit more about this exciting launch, and we're going to build on this. And so I hope you're as excited as we are. Let me walk you through, and this is kind of a recap from a functional level. You take the GARS gene test, folks. It's very, very simple. Read the instructions. You do need to slow down, take 2 or 3 minutes max to look at the instructions. They're very simple. They're very well written. They're very clear. We literally have had no issues. But you do need to slow down. You don't want to just grab the swab and start rolling it around. You do want to just make sure you do it right. Measure twice, cut once. But you take the GARS gene test. Then you get within a week to 10 days, you're going to get the results back. And folks, when you see the depth of that report, you're gonna understand why the GARS test is patented, why this is a game changer. What we're doing, in the world of epigenetics, in the world of nutrigenomics, we're on the leading edge of nutritional science. And you are benefiting from that as a customer and a partner, taking the products just like I am. And you're also you're benefiting from that as a partner as you go out and share and care with the world and build your customer base. So the test you get back or the results you get back, now you don't have to if you're not interested, you don't have to go through it. But I think you're going to be interested because it's literally talking about your brain, the brain that God blessed you with. And then it's going to tell you why, in my case, EquiGen is the formula that was designed specifically for my DNA and my brain. It's going to tell you why that particular formula is best for you. And so you get your RestoreGen product, and then all you do is take your brain reward and your specific RestoreGen formula together, 6 and 3. That's it, 9 a day, and you're good to go. It's very simple. You don't need to understand the science unless you're interested, and we'll make it. We always make it available. And then here's the key. This is what we're closing with. Remember, the brain reward with the RestoreGen improves stress tolerance. Bill and Steve both shared with us that the brain reward does this, but when you laser in with the RestoreGen, you are nourishing your brain at a very targeted level, improving stress intolerance, the ability to handle stress, the ability to manage stress, sleep, improve sleep. These are all from the validated science. Detox and recovery, elevate your mood. I mean, folks, there are a lot of people walking around that are interested in what we're just talking about right here. I'm telling you, and I'll speak first person. I'm interested in this. Stress, in increasing my ability in a high pressure world, which we all are in, to handle stress effectively, to sleep. And by the way, those two are connected. Detox and recovery, folks. We are bombarded by toxins, air pollution, chemicals from the upholstery in our chairs, from car seats, from sofas, toxins in foods that we eat, toxins in things that we drink. So detox and recovery, elevate your mood, promoting energy, improving concentration. Think about that. I just talked to one of my best childhood friends whose youngest son is really so smart. He's just an overachiever, but he's struggling with staying focused for long periods of time. And we talked about the brain reward and the GARS test. And so improve self-control and mental sharpness. Again, these are things that people are interested in, and these are things that we can help. And all we have to do from a partner standpoint is say, listen, try the brain reward. Take the GARS test, try the RestoreGen, your particular formula. Give it 90 to 120 days. Nourish your brain, nourish your body at a cellular level, and see what happens. So in conclusion, folks, this is the beginning of the next level for Victory Nutrition International. And whether you're a customer, whether you're a partner, speaking on behalf of Bill Downs, our founder and chief executive officer, speaking on behalf of Steve Kushner, our co-founder and head of research and development, we appreciate you. We appreciate you as a customer. We appreciate you as a partner, a leader. We appreciate you as a prospective customer or partner. And we want you to be part of this mission. We want you to be part of the VNI family. And we know these products will bless you and your family. So with that, have a wonderful evening, and we'll talk soon. God bless. Bye-bye.